What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing good and ready to hear what's actually changed in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. One of the biggest talking points right away is Thorn. Her gadget has always been dangerous on paper, but inconsistent in practice. And that's clearly what Ubisoft tried to address here. The Razor Bloom shells now behave more reliably when it comes to detection and detonation, meaning enemies can't just casually sprint through areas where a trap should realistically punish them. And the activation feels more dependable, and this pushes Thorn into a much stronger denial role rather than feeling like a gamble pick. You're going to notice attackers respecting her setups more, especially in tight choke points or stairwells where timing matters. Mozzie players also have a lot to be happy about. Ubisoft finally decided to give him back the Super Shorty, and that alone changes how flexible he feels on defense. Mozzie has always been a strong intel denial operator, but losing that secondary shotgun made site setup awkward and forced teammates to compensate. Now he's back to being a self-sufficient roamer who can open rotations, adjust sightlines, and still threaten drones effectively. This doesn't make him overpowered, but it absolutely restores his identity and makes him smoother to play in coordinated and solo matches alike. Echo also sees meaningful adjustments, especially to how his yokai drones function. They feel more responsive and consistent when it comes to disorientation effects, which is huge in clutch situations. Echo's strength has always been information control and last-second denial, and this update reinforces that role without turning him into a frustration machine. The changes reward good positioning and timing rather than random luck, which is exactly where an operator like Echo should sit in the meta. On the weapon and gadget side, there are several smaller balance tweaks that don't scream headline material, but absolutely matter once you're in a real match. Recoil patterns and handling on a few weapons have been slightly adjusted to feel more predictable, which helps reduce those moments where a gunfight feels lost to randomness instead of decision-making. Gadget interactions have also been cleaned up, so certain placements and line-of-sight checks behave more consistently. These are the kinds of changes you might not notice immediately, but after a few hours of play, the game just feels tighter and more fair. Bug fixes make up a large portion of this update, and honestly, that's where a lot of the value comes from. Several long-standing issues related to sound propagation have been addressed, including situations where footsteps or gadget audio would either cut out or play from incorrect directions. That's massive in a game where sound cues can decide an entire round. Navigation bugs, especially around vaulting, barricades, and awkward collision spots, have also been smoothed out. You're less likely now to get stuck on geometry or misjudge a vault because the game didn't register your input properly. There are also fixes tied to operator-specific problems that players have been reporting for months. Gadgets failing to deploy correctly, visual effects lingering longer than intended, and UI elements not updating properly during rounds have all been targeted. These may sound small, but when you stack them together, they remove a lot of those little frustrations that slowly wear players down over time. From a broader perspective, this update feels like Ubisoft focusing on stability and consistency rather than shaking things up for the sake of change. The operator tweaks strengthen rules that already existed instead of forcing new playstyles, and the technical fixes aim to make outcomes feel earned rather than accidental. That's a good direction, especially this deep into the game's life cycle.